Okay. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for coming to Vermont today. And we had a great time at Harwood Union High School in Moortown. Let me begin by asking you a pretty simple question. For 5 years in a row now, the little country of Finland has been acknowledged by international studies as being the happiest country on earth. Why do you think that's so?
I think you don't have obviously any easy, obvious explanations. It can't be the climate. It can't be the happy neighborhood. So I think the reason we've been trying to study that, I think one of the indicators that we have seen is that there's a high degree of trust in institutions and in other people. So people feel that they belong to a society, and they feel that the society is also working for them. And I think there is also an element of being relatively stress-free, because we have a system that kind of covers some of the basic elements and needs of your life. So you can actually count on support in many important fields like education, healthcare, social services. So I think it doesn't make our life problem-free, but I think it kind of reduces the stress that most of the people have. And this is the reason. So I don't think happiness means that we are sort of laughing all the time, but it means that we are basically rather content with life.
All right. One of the things I think we don't discuss enough here in the United States is the incredible degree of stress that people live under. And anxiety is just not good for your health. People worry about how they're going to pay their health care bills. They worry about how they're going to send their kids to college. They worry about how they're going to get by on wages, which in many cases are not adequate. So let's review what goes on in Finland. Let me just start off. All right. In America, we don't have paid family and medical leave, something I'm fighting for. We don't have it. Means that there are women in this country who can give birth, and 1 week or 2 weeks later, they're forced to go back to work. How does paid family and medical leave work in Finland?
Our system is based on the universal maternity leave package, which means that for the first 3 months, you get 100% of your salary.
So you have a baby.
Yeah, you have a baby.
For the first 3 months, you got 100% of your salary.
Yeah, and then up to 1 year, and even more so, you have 60-70% of that salary. So your financial security is taken care of in that way. Then, of course, very important in our society is also the fact that parents can divide how they use that time. So actually, it's also the father who can stay home. So mother can actually return to work, and then the father gets the compensation. So it's not only kind of dedicated to a mother.
All right. In our country, there are hundreds of thousands of people who go bankrupt because of outrageously high medical bills. How much does healthcare cost for the person in Finland? If I'm sick and I end up in the hospital, what kind of bill do I pay when I get out?
I think in our case, if you get sick and go to hospital, then the bill you get is basically it's only a tiny fraction of the real cost, because that's taken care of by the state health insurance. So after a time in hospital, you may end up paying a few $100s, depending, of course, on some of the things. But it's a symbolical cost. It's not anywhere near the real cost.
When a mom and dad go to work, they worry about, their babies. Tell me about the childcare system that exists in Finland.
Well, our childcare system is mainly we have municipal childcare centers, and so it's a public system. We also have private kindergartens, but in my case, I only can tell my Helsinki experience. Basically, the range of payments starts from 30 euros, which is basically now $30 these days, It depends on
$30 a month?
Yeah, a month. It depends on your income. Then the maximum rate for high income earners, it's $300 per month.
Okay, $300 a month is $3,600 a year. In this state of Vermont, which is just about average for the nation, it's about $15,000 a year. All right, let me ask you another question, and that is the issue of education and higher education in particular. If I were interested in becoming a doctor in Finland, I have to go to college, I have to go to medical school. In this country, it is not uncommon for people to leave medical school $300,000 or $400,000 in debt. How much debt do I leave medical school and college in Finland?
Well, basically, there are no fees. There are no tuition fees, so it means that you don't pay for the education itself. You get state financial aid for students for your living expenses. Then it basically depends on a number of factors if you need to borrow some money. If you don't have the time, if you really want to focus on your studies, you don't want to supplement your income by working like sort of part-time, then of course you can borrow money and then you can have some debt, but still, like in many cases, people graduate without having any debt. So did I. So I was lucky in that sense.
In the United States, and I know all over the world, people can make a good living and do important work without a 4-year college degree. What do you do in terms of technical education to make sure that people can become, good construction workers or whatever?
Yeah, we run a system of vocational schools. So usually people go to vocational school after the comprehension school. So that takes 2 years, 3 years, and then they graduate and they usually start in different kinds of professions. I think it's really important path in our education system because we know that you need also skilled workers, people, but it's not only skilled workers. They need to have good basic education so that they can be retrained down the road because the needs and professions change. So we always try to make sure that they get the good basic education, then vocational training, which is ample and enough for demanding professions, but then also can be retrained later on in their lives.
All right, I'm not going to get you involved into American politics. That's not something you do.
I can't do that either.
And you can't do it, and you won't do it. But what I am interested in is the nature of the system. In this country right now, billionaires can spend hundreds of millions of dollars electing the candidates that they want. Tell us a little bit, if you can, about the nature of the political system in Finland, and can somebody spend zillions of dollars to get elected? How does it work in Finland?
Well, basically, it's a parliamentary democracy. We have several parties in the parliament.
You have a number of parties.
Yes, we have a number of parties. We have, I think, 9 parties now in the parliament. So, and they are coming with different profiles. We have elections, parliamentary elections in every 4 years. We have certain rules to control the financing the candidates get, and we have certain limitations on that. How does it work? And of course, I think we have a culture in which kind of an outsized contributions. I think that wouldn't be perhaps good news for the candidates. So there's a kind of I think the people expect that these kind of contributions are staying within the certain limits.
All right. In the United States, we have more income and wealth inequality today than I think perhaps in the history of this country. You got 3 people who own more wealth than the bottom half of America. Top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%. Recently, a study came out where CEOs of large corporations now make 400 times what their workers earn. What is the issue of income and wealth inequality in Finland?
I think it's a matter of concern, and it's a matter of discussion also in our society. I know that if you take international comparisons, we are still one of the most equal societies. I think the differences have been growing during the last couple of years, but I think if you compare, I think we are still doing fine. I think people do think it's important that the income disparities don't grow too much, that we stay sort of more or less on the same page. There are differences. You can make a better living, you can become rich in Finland, you can become a millionaire. That's all possible, it should be possible. But of course, in our case, we also try to make sure that those who earn more, they also have to contribute more.
So you have a progressive tax system.
We have a progressive tax system.
Okay. Art, Finland shares an 800-mile border with Russia,
Yeah.
and obviously all over the world and in Finland, there's been deep concern about this horrific invasion of the Ukraine by Putin. Tell us a little bit about Finland's attitude toward the war in Russia, the Russian war in Ukraine right now.
So obviously we totally condemn the illegal attack. And of course we have started to help Ukraine right from the beginning. We think we cannot accept this kind of an illegal attack, the idea of annexation of sovereign country, which is your neighbor. So obviously we are totally against this, and of course we are supporting Ukraine also in terms of military assistance. I think for us it means that we need to stay united against this. It's not only the issue for the Americans or for the US, also the Europeans are contributing to this joint effort. I think it's about principle. We cannot live according to this kind of old rules anymore. We have to respect the international law and the right of the Ukrainians, and all these disputes which may arise, they must be handled in a peaceful manner. So I think we are in a long, difficult situation with Russia. So far, bilaterally, if I look at the border that we have with Russia, it's been all quiet and stable. I think one of the reasons is the fact that Russia has to focus on Ukraine. It drains all the resources they have right at the moment. But obviously, we have one of the strongest militaries in Europe. We have a universal service conscription, so we take this really seriously.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I'm okay with this. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
good. All right. Well, once again, thank you for joining me in
Thanks.
Vermont, and everybody, thanks for watching.